My husband disappeared with my neighbor, and they didn't expect. You won't believe what happened the day my husband walked out the door and never came back. And the most shocking part. He left with the woman who lived right next to us. Yes, my neighbor. We shared fences, conversations over coffee, and the occasional borrowed cup of sugar. I never thought she'd be the one to shatter my world. But before you jump to conclusions, this story isn't what you think. You see, it didn't start with betrayal. It started with silence. With glances that lasted a little too long. With questions I didn't ask because I was too afraid of the answers. What I uncovered after that day wasn't just about two people leaving. It was about secrets buried deep beneath years of routine, about choices made in fear and a truth they never saw coming. And here's the thing. They didn't expect me to find out. They didn't expect me to rise. So before you scroll past or click away, I want to take you back to where it all began. Because sometimes the real story is hiding in the moments we overlook. Let me ask you, have you ever ignored your instincts and later wished you hadn't? Let's go back. The truth lives there. Part 1. A quiet life next door. Hi, I'm Anna. If you've ever believed that a calm life means a happy one, I used to be just like you. From the outside, everything about my world looked quiet, predictable. My husband Daniel and I had been married for almost 10 years. A decade of Sunday breakfasts, school drop-offs, anniversaries that sometimes slipped by with just a hug and a tired smile. Nothing dramatic, nothing explosive, just the rhythm of an ordinary family life. And then there was Lisa, our neighbor. She moved in 3 years ago, alone at first. Friendly, polished, always carrying a basket of something warm when we were sick or busy. She knew our daughter's favorite snack. She remembered my birthday. She had a laugh that made you feel like you were part of some inside joke. She was the kind of neighbor you wish for. Or so I thought. But you know how some books have pages that feel too smooth, like something's been erased and rewritten? That's what I feel now when I look back at those years. Have you ever had someone live so close to you, just a few feet away, but when it all falls apart, you realize you never really knew them at all? I wonder now, were there signs? The moments that felt a little off. Like the time I caught Daniel smiling at a message on his phone, then quickly locking it. Or when Lisa asked if Daniel could help her fix her back gate at 9 o'clock at night. I told myself it was nothing. Just neighbors being neighborly. But sometimes we don't see the truth because we're too comfortable in the story we've told ourselves. Looking back, there were little things. Like how Lisa always seemed to appear right when Daniel got home. Or how she never mentioned much about her own life, yet knew every little detail about ours. There was a closeness between them I couldn't quite explain but also didn't want to question. And I'll be honest, there were times I felt invisible in my own home. Daniel started staying late at work. He forgot small things that used to matter. Talked less, touched less. He'd look at me, but it felt like his mind was somewhere else, somewhere far away. And I started doing what so many of us do. I blamed myself. Maybe I was too tired, too distracted with our daughter. Maybe I didn't listen enough, laugh enough, love him the right way anymore. But none of that explained why he left the way he did. No goodbye, no fight, just silence. And Lisa, gone the same day. It was like they vanished into a space I never knew existed between us. I need to ask you, have you ever had a moment when you realized someone you trusted had a second life you never saw coming? What would you have done if you were me? Would you have searched for answers or walked away? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Seriously, this isn't just my story. Could be any of us. And if you're still here, thank you for staying. Because what happened next? That's where everything truly began. Stay with me. In the next part, I'll tell you exactly what happened the day they disappeared and how one single detail changed everything. Part 2. The day everything changed. It was a Tuesday, just like any other. Or so I thought. Daniel woke up early that morning, made coffee black, no sugar, the way he liked it, and kissed me lightly on the cheek. "I'll be back soon," he said. "Just running a few errands." Simple. Usual. Ordinary. But you know what they say about ordinary days? They're often the ones that change your life forever. As the hours passed, I didn't think much of it. He'd gone to the bank, maybe stopped by the hardware store. Maybe he needed a little space. We all do sometimes, right? But by lunchtime I noticed something strange. His phone was off. Completely unreachable. By dinner I'd called 3 times. Left 2 voicemails. No reply. I remember standing in the kitchen, stirring a pot of soup I made for him, and glancing out the window. Lisa's house was dark, quiet. Not even her porch light flickered. That woman never missed trash day. And that's when it hit me. Not just a passing worry. Full body chill. I walked across the yard to her house, knocked on her door. Nothing. I peeked in through the side window, heart pounding. Everything was gone. It was like they had vanished together. Can you imagine that moment? Standing alone between 2 houses, yours and the one next to it, and realizing both doors are closed to you now. That everything you trusted, everything you thought was safe, had been quietly slipping away behind your back. I didn't cry at first. I didn't scream. I just stood there, frozen. Like if I stayed still long enough, time would rewind itself and I'd wake up from it all. But that didn't happen. Instead, I spent that night staring at the ceiling, the silence louder than it had ever been. Every creak in the floor, every blink of the hallway light made my mind spin with questions. Where were they? Why hadn't he called? Why her? The next morning I filed a missing person report. Not because I thought he was in danger, but because I needed to know something. Anything. And what the officer told me after running his name crushed me even more. There was no record of him going anywhere official. No credit card usage. No security footage. He didn't just leave. He planned it. They planned it. That realization broke something inside me. Because when someone leaves out of anger or pain or fear, you can sometimes understand it. But when someone leaves without a word, it means they didn't just stop loving you. They decided you didn't even deserve the truth. What would you do in that moment? Would you call every friend? Would you pack his things? Would you scream into your pillow at 3 a.m. like I did? Or would you hold it together for the sake of your child, your pride, your sanity, and pretend you're okay when inside you're unraveling? I want to hear your thoughts. Really. If you've ever faced abandonment, betrayal, or the quiet ache of unanswered questions, tell me below. You're not alone. And if this story is hitting you in ways you didn't expect, stay with me. Because the next part, that's where I start uncovering the clues. The late-night messages. The slip-ups. And one small forgotten detail that Daniel left behind. That would change everything. Are you ready to see what I found? Let's keep going. Part 3, The Clues I Missed. Have you ever looked back and realized the truth had been whispering to you all along and you just didn't want to hear it? That's what it felt like, sitting alone in our bedroom days after Daniel disappeared. I kept turning over every little moment, every strange silence, every smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. And slowly, painfully, the puzzle pieces began to fall into place. There were the late-night texts, the ones he brushed off as work emergencies. But tell me who works in finance and suddenly starts replying to client emails at 2 a.m.? Then there were the sudden showers as soon as he got home. The phone that never left his pocket. The way he started locking the bathroom door even when he was just brushing his teeth. And Lisa, sweet, smiling Lisa, had been borrowing more than just sugar. She borrowed time. She borrowed comfort. And somewhere along the way, she borrowed a man who once belonged to my story. But here's the part one want to ask you about, because maybe you've been there too. Why is it that, when people hurt us, the first person we blame is ourselves? I asked myself all the questions we ask when we're left behind. Was I not enough? Did I stop being interesting? Did I make our home too quiet, too safe, too boring? I spiraled through guilt, then anger, then confusion, until one morning while folding laundry I found it. A small, creased envelope tucked in the pocket of one of Daniel's jackets. Had my name on it. Just one word, Anna. Stopped me in my tracks. Hands shaking, heart pounding. I opened it, half hoping for a goodbye, half fearing a confession. What I read changed my grief into something else entirely. He wrote about fear, about shame, about how he felt like a stranger in his own life. He said he didn't know how to tell me that he was lost not because of me, but because of himself. He didn't mention Lisa by name. But he said he made choices he couldn't undo. That he was trying to escape not from our marriage, but from a part of himself he'd been hiding even longer than I'd known him. And that's when it hit me. This wasn't just a betrayal. It was an unraveling of a man who never truly knew peace inside his own skin. I don't say that to excuse what he did. He lied. He left. He broke something that may never fully heal. But that letter, it gave me back a piece of my power. Because it reminded me that I didn't cause his disappearance. I didn't push him into Lisa's arms. I didn't fail. I just loved someone who didn't know how to love himself. Have you ever discovered something, an object, a letter, a message that completely reframed your understanding of the past? I'd really like to know. Sometimes sharing our stories makes us feel less alone. And if this part of the story resonates with you, please don't scroll away just yet. Share this video with someone who might need to hear it. Or leave a comment. Your words might help someone else find their voice too. But don't go. Because in the next part, I'm going to tell you what I did with that letter. And how it led me to a truth they never expected me to find. Are you ready for that? Let's keep going. Part 4. The truth they didn't expect. You know how in movies, there's always that one moment, the twist, where everything flips, and suddenly the villain isn't who you thought it was. That envelope was my twist. In his rush to leave, Daniel forgot one thing, the truth. Neatly folded inside that jacket pocket, left like an afterthought, were letters. Not addressed to Lisa. Not filled with romantic confessions or apologies for running away. They were written to me. And as I opened them, hands trembling, tears already forming, I realized something no part of me was prepared for. He didn't leave for Lisa. He left with her. But he wasn't running toward love. He was running away from himself. In those letters he confessed everything. Not just the betrayal. Not just the planning. But the fear that had been eating him alive. He wrote about how lost he felt as a man, as a husband, as a person carrying a secret he couldn't bear to speak out loud. He wrote about shame. The kind that doesn't come from being caught, but from pretending for so long that you forget who you really are. He admitted that Lisa wasn't the answer. She was just the exit. And that broke me in a different way. Because it wasn't just my heart he had lied to, it was his own. But the strangest thing happened while I was reading. Somewhere between those pages of pain I felt calm. Because for the first time, I realized the truth wasn't mine to carry. His shame wasn't my burden. His confusion wasn't my reflection. And in a strange, bittersweet way, those letters gave me something he never could while standing beside me: closure. Have you ever read something that made your world crumble but also rebuilt you at the same time? That's what this was. It made me think. How often do we blame ourselves for the stories we were simply written into, without our consent? How often do we carry guilt that never belonged to us in the first place? I want to know, have you ever let go of a love that was never truly yours to begin with? What did that moment feel like for you? Was it peaceful? Was it angry? Was it freeing? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. And here's something else I learned. Their story didn't end the way they planned. Because truth has a way of catching up, doesn't it? A year after they left, I heard Lisa moved out again. Alone. Quietly. No goodbye party. No moving truck fanfare. Just gone. And Daniel. He reached out. Once. Short message. No apology. Just a sentence. I hope you're doing well. I never replied. Because my story was no longer about them. It was about me. And as much as they tried to escape the truth, I stood in it. Faced it. And somehow I came out stronger. So if you're watching this and holding on to something that's breaking you, please know this. You don't need an apology to heal. You don't need closure from someone else to move on. Sometimes the truth you find on your own is enough. If this story touched something in you, share it with someone who might need to hear it. Or just comment below with a single word that describes where you are in your own story. Lost. Healing. Free. I'll be here. But don't leave yet. In the final part of this journey, I'll tell you how I rebuilt my life. How I found peace not by forgetting but by choosing myself for the very first time. Let's finish this together. Sometimes it takes losing everything to finally find yourself. This wasn't just the end of a marriage, it was the beginning of me. And maybe, just maybe, heartbreak isn't where life stops but where it truly begins. If my story touched something in you, I hope you'll stay a little longer. Like this video, subscribe to my family tragedy, and explore more stories that might speak to your own. Because every day we share something real, something human. Thank you for being here. You matter more than you know. Until next time, take care of your heart.